The methods of today's executions and torture pale in comparison to the times of old. The human mind is often considered a brilliant invention of evolution, however, it is also capable of unspeakable acts. Throughout ancient history, stories have been told about gruesome tales of torture, human ruthlessness, and the sadistic pleasure people derived from seeing others in excruciating agony. Join us, as we learn about the most brutal ways people were tortured and executed in the ancient world. First on our list. Rat torture. With this type of torture, typically a rat was placed inside a small cage positioned against the victim's abdomen. The cage was heated from the outside, either by a candle, flaming stick, or hot coals, causing the rat to become agitated. Its only escape was by clawing its way into the only available soft surface, human skin. The rat would gnaw its way into the victim's bowels, quite quickly, eliciting unbearable agony in the process. This technique effectively got information out of prisoners and played on their psyches, adding a psychological element to the torture. One of the first documented uses of this diabolical technique occurred in 16th century Europe during the Dutch Revolt, where Dutch leader Diederik Sonoy famously implemented the torture method against captured prisoners. Up next. The rack. Another brutally famous torture device in the ancient world was the rack. It involved a table, usually wooden, with axles and levers at both ends. The victim was forced to lay down, after which leather straps bound their wrists and heels. The straps had chains or ropes tied to them, which wound over the axles. One or several torturers would then slowly push the levers, causing the axles to rotate and produce tension in the chains. This caused the straps to dig into the prisoner's skin and gradually stretched their body outwards. The internal physical damage that one would have suffered is hard to swallow. Vertebrae were expanded, joints, muscles, and tendons gave way, posture changed, the ribcage pressurized the lungs, bones shattered, and nerve endings became exposed. The rack was used at the Tower of London, a royal palace that also served as a prison, starting in the 15th century. Next on our list. The Roman candle. The Roman ruler Nero was ruthless and psychopathic and hated Christians so much that he used them as human candles, or torches, for his garden parties. First, the victims were tied and nailed to tall stakes. Then, flammable liquid was poured over them before they were set alight. The fire started at the feet to prolong their suffering, eventually leading to them being burned alive. Next up. The Brazen Bull. The Brazen Bull was used as a form of torture and entertainment, where a victim would be tied up and placed inside, and a fire was lit beneath the bull, essentially leading to the victim being roasted alive. It was made of copper with a horn at the mouthpiece to make the victim's scream sound like a bull in distress. Spices and herbs were even added to the Brazen Bull to give the roasted corpse a more pleasant smell. People would gather around the bull and chant as the victim inside was slowly roasted alive. The Brazen Bull was said to be used by Phalaris, a tyrant who ruled a part of Sicily in the 6th century BCE. For our next torture device. The Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden was a human-shaped box, decorated on the inside with incredibly sharp spikes that would impale through the victim on either side when the box was shut. But the spikes were not long enough to kill a person outright, rather, they were short and placed in such a way that the victim would die a slow and agonizing death, bleeding out over time. There is a lot of controversy on the origins of this mysterious torture device, with some claiming it was from the Middle Ages, while others disagree, due to the fact that there is no written history on it until the late 1700s. Before moving on to our final entry, please like and follow us, as it really helps our channel grow. For our final entry. The Judas Cradle. The Judas Cradle was created to torture victims by slowly impaling them. The tip of the pyramid of the Judas cradle would first be inserted into the victim's private part, usually the anus. The victim would then be slowly lowered down the pyramid, causing the victim's rear to be slowly torn open. The victim would be further lowered, causing the tip to pierce through organs and impale the person, eventually causing death. This sadistic device was invented in the 16th century and used during the Spanish Inquisition. So, what did you think of these torture devices? Were any of these new to you? Drop a comment and let me know. Thank you for watching.